What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another statue unboxing and review. We got something that wasn't on my pre-order list. Classic. But it was on Sideshow Deals and I simply could not resist because I've wanted it for a long time. It's the PCS Jean-Claude Van Damme show token from Bloodsport. I've seen a few videos and reviews. It always looked kind of funky in pictures, like the portrait, but I want to see it in person. So I got it for basically like $500 shipped with some reward points. And I'm like, God, that's so cheap for a 1/3. And I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. I grew up watching Bloodsport, Lionheart, you name it. I watched all his classics. Love him. Wife loves him. So I thought, might as well pick him up. I have two possible spots I'm thinking of pairing this. And if I love this and plan to keep it, we're going to pair it with Rocky and likely either here in my main TV area or by Bruce Lee. So let's see what we got. Pretty good sized base, only 2 pieces to this statue. Kind of feel like I'm gonna like this. So I got number 84 of 500. And here is the base. Good sized base. Here's the under part. So it looks great. It is, as you can see, it like doesn't even truly fit on my turntable. The overall box was not too bad. Shipping was $40, so very cheap. Packaging looks good. Yeah, he has one solid statue, no parts, no switch outs. Now, how can you not love Jean-Claude Van Damme? Goodness. I recently watched Bloodsport and the other one by him, so let's get a good look at him. Okay. I think he looks pretty good. Huh. There he is. Boom. How quick was that statue unboxing? I'm going to see what the wife thinks. But here he is. Likeness is definitely pretty good. Not perfect. I'd probably peg it, I don't know, maybe like 80%. It's good, but it's not perfect. You know, the mixed media, you know, it's pretty decent. You have, you know, these really just these shorts with a little bit of red Chinese writing that are like stretchy pants, and then these two almost like black belts, yellow belts that he wore. Overall skin paint out looks pretty good. You know, he's tan, he has good vein work, and you know, he's pretty ripped. You know, as Jean-Claude was in Bloodsport. Hair looks good. Nice individual strands. Pose is pretty cool, you know. I like the pose. It's not a super tall statue. It's only 22 inches tall. However, it is quite wide, but you know, you kind of want to pose it like that to take away from the depth. You kind of want him like posing towards you. Now, there is a companion piece, the Bolo Jung, that you can pair this with, and I think that one looks great. And there's 2 versions of him, both Bloodsport and Enter the Dragon. And that definitely looks really good as well. I think they did a great job on both of those, the 2 versions. You know, and then this one, there is 2 variations. There's this one, and then the kickboxing one, the Muay Thai one. That one he's wearing like, obviously different shorts, and then he has the wraps with the glass on his hands because, you know, did the Muay Thai fighting. And that movie is excellent as well. But for me, Bloodsport, I think, is one of, if not the best Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he is the main. And he has so many movies, though. You know, it's such a classic 80s, 90s action star. You know, and for me, you know, I really grew up in the 90s. I'm a 90s baby. So let's do some close-ups on this bad boy and comparisons. Alrighty, folks, so let's dive in a little bit deeper into this statue. So first, here's the base. Now, it has more or less two dragons meeting each other with what looks just like, in general, a really cool design. So I do like this underbase. And yeah, there's 4 dragons in total. So it's the same back and forth. The dragon ends right here, you know, goes up and down and meets here. Great design. I like that. Now, what I think PCS should have done is changed this up. I like this. This is great. This is just black and plain. Now there is like a little bit of a sparkle effect. And this is actually very similar to Lord of Darkness, where he has like this really cool design and then like a similar effect. It does work, but I would prefer an environmental base up on top. I love the under design. The upper design, I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, it's okay. It's not bad, but I would have changed it. You know, I would have changed this to the arena he fought in Bloodsport. You know, I think it was like white. Actually, let me Google it real quickly. I kind of feel like the likeness improves the further the distance you are away. I feel like up close, it loses likeness, but when you step back like 2 feet, the likeness is good. Let's look at Bloodsport real quickly. Yeah, see, they fought in like white, so it should have been white instead of black. You know, you can see the costume there. Obviously, it matches the statue. The skin tone, I think, matches great. There's not really a blood effect, but there is the scar, you know, above his eye. Which, let's see if we could, yeah, you know, that's almost similar to the pose. They definitely could have added some more wounds on his body, maybe a little blood. Yeah, like that is the pose, literally right there from the freaking poster. So I think that's great. The way they have this pose, the yellow is actually on the side. So right now on my statue, it's not like that. So I think I'm going to have to adjust that. And here it is in the actual movie. Yeah, it's more to the side, not the front. So I'm going to adjust that on the statue because I do want it to match and be more accurate. And you can see right here, yeah, it's to the side. Oh yeah, definitely. And the other one's actually kind of to the side as well. None of them are truly in the middle. I love Bolo Young. I grew up watching all of this. You know, and the PCS has the statue very similar to this, actually, like the face. So epic. Alrighty, so it was super easy to move this, although I need to adjust this. Alrighty, yeah, I wanted to get it so you could see the black above. And this, I want to be able to see all of that because I think that's like cool detail. And then this split between the legs is kind of how I wanted to pair that. So overall, the mixed media is decent. I mean, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. You know, that's how it looked in the movie, as you saw. You know, the main level of detail is really going to be the body sculpt in general. You know, so you have his feet with nice vein work. The toes look decent. Come up to legs. Pretty good skin texture all around. It looks quite good. You know, vein work. Pretty buff calves. Looks pretty good overall. No, it's like typical PCS 1/3 detail. Nice texture work. Abs look good. Fingers look good. Look at the vein work in the like forearm and the bicep. Check out that portrait. Like I said, pretty good. Some profiles it looks a little bit off. And I feel like as you step back, it goes from 80 to 90%. If you get really close, it's kind of like, wait, who's that again? But the thing is, you rarely do view statues super up close. Now, I don't know what that is. That looks like damage, honestly. Look at that. What do you guys think that is? It looks like almost skin flaking. Really hard to see with the naked eye. There's also something right here. Now, look at that. Another QC issue right there at the neck. Yeah, like that definitely looks like a QC issue. Granted, it's extremely hard to see with my naked eye. This one is a little more apparent. All right, let's fix that camera. Overall, it looks pretty good though. For $500, it's not a bad purchase at all. Has a decent presence, definitely, quite a wide 1/3. Let's, set it up like over here next to Bruce Lee, see how it looks. All right, so here is Jean-Claude next to Vampirella and Red Sonja. Kind of see the size. He's definitely a smaller 1/3, as you can see, but he does look really good. Yeah, in the naked eye, those two QC issues are so hard to see, so I kind of understand why they missed it. Because I'm looking at it with my straight eye, I'm like, God, I can't even see that. It's so hard to see, but in camera, you can obviously see it. Yeah, so I actually have like two kind of ideas. Let's say we keep him. Now, granted, I could always return him. There's QC issues. But he was so cheap, and I do love Jean-Claude Van Damme. Always been a big fan. I could put him right there with Rocky, and then obviously Arnold T-1000, and that would be Blade 1/3. And then I have basically 4 members of the Expendables, if you think about it. And I love the Expendables movies. It's so good. And he was the villain in movie 2. Frickin' Blade, he was in the 3rd movie, and then Arnold was in all 3, and obviously Stallone was the main star of all 3. And Stallone is such a legend. So same with Arnold. They all are, honestly. Frickin' Wesley Snipes. He's not bad here, but I kind of feel like him being a martial artist would go better next to Bruce Lee. Now, Rocky, technically, yes, it's a type of martial arts, boxing. But I would love to do Bolo as the companion to him and have like my own garage shelf, Van Damme, Bolo, Rocky, and Apollo Creed. However, space and money, at retail, this was $1,000. Rocky's $1,100, Bolo's $1,000, Apollo Creed is $1,000. It's like $4,000 at that point. I could just buy another silicone bust. So you got to wager what's better, 4 1/3s or 1 silicone bust. And most likely, I might be buying Thanos bust today. Someone is selling him, and I really want to put him there, which means if we do get Thanos bust, we have to get real serious about selling Hulkbuster Thanos to help fund him, and maybe even just sell the Venom displays, what I'm thinking. Sell Venom display, Hulkbuster, and Thanos. God, that's so much sacrifice, though. But I do think that'll be the best bust I'll ever own. All right, let's try Van Damme next to Bruce Lee. Alrighty, so this is how they pair together. I don't think they pair perfect at all. The problem is really just the portrait. I think the bodies scale good, but for some reason, Bruce Lee's head is substantially bigger. Bruce Lee's head does kind of seem a little big on his body now that I see this, because I don't think Van Damme's head is too small. His just seems kind of big. But then when I see Bruce Lee there, I'm like, yeah, his head is kind of big. The bodies do look like they match, though. Although Bruce Lee is a little bit taller on his base. Bruce Lee, I believe, is 26, 27 inches tall. Van Damme's 22 due to the pose. Obviously, that more downwards martial art fighting pose. Now, if we keep him here and whatnot, I'm going to change this shelf out to the longer shelf that will go here, which will allow me to display 3 1/3. And in essence, I would do Bruce Lee there, then Rocky, then Van Damme. Because Rocky is 26 inches tall, so he should be about as tall as him. And it would, I think, look a little bit better that way. What do you guys think? He obviously fits a garage shelf quite good. His base does match Bruce Lee quite well, considering the colors and both having like dragon themed. They're both martial art posed. So I do feel like the bases match extremely well. So I do like that. That's definitely something I like. So in general, I do think they pair good. Like I said, Bruce Lee just has kind of a big head, but that's really more or less due to his hairstyle. He had, that crazy hair. They do pair good together, though, I will say. Now, in terms of detail in the comparison between the two, I think this has better eyes. Now, this is a plastic portrait and then polystone body. I think PCS's skin texture is better. Like they actually have skin texture. He doesn't have a ton of skin texture, believe it or not. And then those are decals for the blood when it should have been painted. It's like really hard to see up close, but it doesn't have, it's like when you feel it, it is smooth, where this does actually have, like texture to the skin. Between the two bases, I still like Bruce Lee's base better, having that yin yang symbol and the way they designed it. I think it's a little bit better than this. But overall, I do think the Van Damme is quite a good statue, especially for that price tag on the daily deals when they did, was it 30 or 40% off? And then I had like $180 in reward points. Now, Rocky is $1,100. Now, if I want Rocky 3 or Rocky 4, it's $1,400. That one, though, the prototype portrait was not very good. Like the likeness was like 50%. And I know they fixed the portrait on the original Rocky, which also had a terrible portrait to begin with. I'm still wondering why PCS even released the original portrait. Like, how did they not see it to begin with during the initial prototype phase? Like, it's like, you're not going to have very good sales if the, prototype portrait's way off. So I'm kind of baffling if I just want to pick up Rocky 2 since I know the portrait is good, or wait and get Rocky 4, which is his costume at the end of Rocky 3, which is the real reason I would do it. So I'd do Rocky 4, which is also more expensive, but I really wanted to see an updated portrait. And I did ask Ant, the owner of PCS, hey, are you guys going to fix this portrait? And he left me on the scene. So he saw my message, didn't reply purposefully, which means they probably are not fixing the portrait, because he could have replied and said, yeah, we are fixing the portrait. But he didn't reply, which means they are not fixing it in my opinion, or he just doesn't like me and wants to be a dick. One of those two. Check out that scar in his face. He also has a mole there. I do think the Bruce Lee portrait is definitely better likeness and overall better than this portrait. The thing is with this, because it is a PVC portrait, there is a seam line right there, which is pretty nasty. Because it's different material. And the reason they do PVC, because you're able to achieve better detail. That's the reason Hot Toys have such good likeness, because it's PVC and you can achieve a better level of detail. It's also the route Prime 1's been going with their Blitzway. They're doing PVC heads because it looks better and it's less prone to damage. If PCS did that same route, there would be a nasty seam line right there at his jawline, which is very apparent with Bruce Lee from the side angle. Yeah, this is the more recent PCS 1/3 I got as well. Now, she doesn't have the skin texture like him, but she is quite a bit bigger. These 1/3s are bigger than that 1/3. I feel like MK is more almost Prime 1 style 1/3. They're very big 1/3s, which I love. I love how big these are. Where this is more like a Ghostface 1/3, I don't know Van Damme's size, but I think he's like 5'10". So he's not a huge dude. But overall, I do like this statue quite a bit. I'd probably rate it like a 7 out of 10 overall. I think the likeness could be improved. the overall skin texture and body sculpt is excellent. I do like the pose. I wish they would have did something different at the top of the base instead of just the sparkle look. You know, they should have just did white to match the, you know, Bloodsport ending thing and make it like a wood. You know, just like from Bloodsport. I think they missed that opportunity big time. You know, I do own Bloodsport, but I couldn't find it, but I found Lionheart, which I also love that movie, and it's very similar, having that whole tournament theme. So I just put that there, and as you can see, it's a very similar pose. Now, except for this hand's open instead of fisted. And I think I prefer the open hand. I think that looks better. Anyways, folks, what do you guys think of this Van Damme statue? Do you think it should go here next to Rocky and Bruce Lee? You think we should just return it and say, forget it? So I need to contemplate it for a few days. I'm gonna contact Sideshow about the 2 QC issues and see my options there. I need to contemplate it to see if I really want to keep it, because the price was incredibly good. You know, for $500. You know, it's like, that's half the cost of that Vegeta, and it's a 1/3 scale Van Damme. If I get, you know, Rocky, I'm going to wait until it's also on a daily deals, like 30% off, then I'd pick up Rocky 2. You know, simply because it's in stock and has a guaranteed better portrait, you know. It's just Rocky 3, 4 is more ripped, and I like that more ripped look. Plus, you know, Rocky 3 is my favorite movie. I do like Rocky 2, but I find that oftentimes it's boring, where Rocky 3 I didn't find boring at all. It's just like nonstop from the beginning action. I loved that. Anyways, folks, what do you think of Van Damme? See you guys in the next video. Loki Bus is officially picked up, and he will be the next piece arriving in the collection. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.